Welcome, everyone. My name is Janis Gebhart, and I am super excited that you're joining my good friend Kim and I for the next 20 to 30 minutes. We have a lot of information to share with you, and so we're probably going to talk fast. First, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have been an athlete for as long as I can remember. I was a collegiate swimming champion and a record holder at Mizzou, where I earned my degree in electrical engineering. I'm also a mom to 4 grown children who were very active in sports and activities themselves. So I understand the challenges of parenting and supporting athletic kids and being a busy mom. I'm passionate about educating athletes and their parents about the importance of nutrition to support their athletic endeavors. I know how hard they work on the practice field, and I want 100% of that effort to add value. Throughout high school and college, I was super dedicated to working hard in the pool, but I had a lousy diet. Every spring and fall, I would get an upper respiratory infection that would usually lead to bronchitis or pneumonia. And if someone would have told me to eat some vegetables, I would have done it. But nobody talked to us about our diet. In the summer of 1984, I'm going to age myself here, my goal was to qualify for the Olympic trials in the 200-meter backstroke. I trained really, really hard, but I didn't have the nutrition to recover and repair. And I ended up missing the qualifying time by 2/100ths of a second. So it's my passion to provide education to help your athletes stay healthy and get the most out of every workout and achieve their goals. So looking back, I wish there had been a magic pill that would help me stay healthy and give me a competitive advantage. Have you ever thought about that? What would your magic pill do? After 18 years in the nutrition industry, here's what I would want from a magic pill. Number one, it would contain whole foods that my body recognizes and assimilates, as opposed to synthetic isolated nutrients that honestly our bodies see as toxic. And there would be research done on human beings taking this pill to make sure that it works. There would be a guarantee that it's pure, that there's no additives or contaminants. It would be super affordable for me and my family, and it would be simple, because I don't know about you, but I don't have time to count calories or fat and carbs and things like that. So I don't feel like I asked too much. Do you? I'll tell you what Kim and I are going to talk about today is the BFFs for any athlete. And they're basically the 3 R's. Recovery from workout, repair the tissues and muscles, and reduce inflammation. So we're going to share with you some great tips and ideas about this. And to start off with recovery, my good friend, Kim Wells, is going to talk about it. She's a physical therapist and a certified athletic trainer, and also a wife and a mom to 2 young adults. She loves to work with athletes and their families to make a profound difference in their health and performance through simple dietary changes. So Kim, I'm going to let you take it away.
All right, Janis, thank you. And just like Janis, I'm a very active mom trying to get healthy foods and meals into my very active family's bodies as well, while driving them all over the city for practices and games, weekdays and weekends. And I found a way by focusing on nutrition when my daughter was just 1, to change the trajectory of Kristen's health and life experiences that she could have. At 1, she was diagnosed with allergy-induced asthma, and shortly after that, a friend shared some simple solutions with me that became the catalyst for all of us being healthier now over 21 years later. Kristen was able to graduate high school, running cross country and playing soccer without having to go back on the inhaler or have any symptoms, and was able to experience going to state both in cross country and soccer, winning the state soccer championship her senior year. So my passion is to help moms to be able to have that same gift and peace of mind that they're giving their kids the best foundation for success, health, performance, and experiences that we've been able to have as a family. I believe everyone deserves to have the healthiest bodies possible, And that's one of the reasons why I love to get to share this information. So let's tune in here to recovery, and let's talk a little bit about what that looks like. So oxidative stress in athletic performance is such a key. And we feel like your performance deserves protection. And I promise we won't go into a lot of chemistry today, but just know that with normal metabolism and exercise, your body creates free radicals. And those are not good in your body. Those things cause, you'll see at the bottom, aging, disease, and poor athletic performance. And the only way to counter that oxidative stress that happens is to have antioxidants in your body. But our bodies don't produce antioxidants. And we know it's linked to poor health, and our best defense is those antioxidants. But did you know that in each human cell, the DNA is hit about 10,000 times a day by mutagenic oxidants? That's a lot of damage that happens. And that exercise is really creating more and more free radical damage in our body. And so where do antioxidants come from? They come from fruits and vegetables. Look at the colors in here. They come from yellows and reds and oranges and purples and blues, right? That is where our antioxidants come from. So think of them as your defense shield to protect yourself from aging, disease, and poor athletic performance. That really is going to be the key if you can counter all the oxidative stress that's happening. Well, I'm definitely not the car expert, but I do love analogies. And so I hope that you'll enjoy this analogy of a car to our body, because I know that I need gas and oil for my car to run well, and they do different functions. Your body's like a car, and it needs its own gas and oil. The gas is the micronutrition, the good carbohydrates, the proteins and fat. It's what gives your body the energy to move. If you run out of gas, your body isn't damaged, but you do need to go fuel up, right? The oil is the micronutrition, the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, the antioxidants. It's what keeps your body functioning well. And we all know if we don't get regular oil changes and keep our cars full with oil, over time, we'll have some damage. And some could even be severe. I found this out in high school when my brother checked the wrong dipstick and the engine locked up and ruined the car that we shared. So I know how important the oil change is, even if I don't understand everything that's happening under the hood. And same thing with our body. These two pieces are so critical for our health and for our recovery. And every fruit and vegetable is a complex disease fighting machine. It's our own personal defense force. So think about that and look at all of these things on the side. Fruits and vegetables are analgesic, they're antibacterial, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antiseptic, anti-sunburn, and anti-injury. And we'll delve into a little bit more of some of those here as we talk, but I want you to think about how protective these are for your body. And then I always get people go, okay, I'm understanding this, but now what do I feed my family? So we wanted to give you a few ideas, maybe some breakfast ideas. You can eat these anytime during the day, to give you an idea of some of the things that you can feed your athlete. For our family, we love doing smoothies in the morning. It's the easiest way to get the most bang for my buck into a meal. We'll do a plant-based milk. We'll do, I always throw in frozen fruit usually, and definitely greens off my tower garden, and flaxseed or chia seeds, so I get some good omegas in there, and then a plant protein with the Juice Plus Complete. So that's been our go-to breakfast. But you'll see lots of other ideas for you getting in good recovery food. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Janis. She's going to talk about our next R, which is repair.
Well, thanks, Kim. So we actually need to be nutritionally fit, just like we're physically fit. In this picture, the ball represents nutrition. And think about if that elephant had a bigger base, if that ball was bigger and a little more stable to stand on, he would be able to balance better. And that's what nutrition does for us. It provides a base for us to balance. And so when your nutrition isn't in balance with your physical fitness, then you typically end up with things like overuse injuries, stress fractures, accelerated aging, joint inflammation, an increase in infection. And that's what happened to me when I was in high school. I would get upper respiratory infections all the time. and also an increase in protein carbonyls. And that's a measure of the oxidative stress that Kim just talked about. And here's something that's important to know. The damage caused by this is permanent. It doesn't stop when you stop exercising. So as I moved into adulthood, I continued to get upper respiratory infections every fall and every spring. And they would typically end up as bronchitis or pneumonia until I figured out a way to flood my body with fruits and vegetables. So if you do get injured, most of us know the rice analogy: rest, ice, compression, and elevation, and that's super important. But there's also some anti-injury eating, believe it or not. So all of the itises, tendinitis, bursitis, arthritis, anything that ends in itis is caused by inflammation. So did you know that what you eat either contributes to that inflammation or it reduces the inflammation? And Kim's going to give you some more details about what foods specifically those are in a little bit. But here are some of the top inflammation reducing foods. So these are really good to eat. Pineapple is actually the best anti-inflammatory out there. And salmon and walnuts are great sources of omegas. Berries and cherries have lots and lots of antioxidants that are going to reduce that inflammation. And maybe you get muscle cramps. That's typical. And when people get muscle cramps, it's usually caused by dehydration because muscles constrict and they actually need water in order to relax. But frequent muscle cramps might signal a lack of calcium, magnesium, or potassium. And it's so much better to get these nutrients from foods instead of from isolated supplementation. And not just any food. It's really important to understand that fuel to repair doesn't come from just any foods. Julie K. Silver, who is a medical doctor and a former cancer patient, reveals that fruits and vegetables help heal wounds, they strengthen blood vessels, ward off infection, and boost immune function. So fruits and vegetables are super important. And I'm sure you would agree that prevention is definitely a lot easier than a cure. So wouldn't you rather prevent tendinitis or a stress fracture rather than to have to stop activity and wait for it to heal?
All right, and I'm going to talk about our third R, which is reducing inflammation. We know that reducing inflammation is key to not only recovering from injury, but also performance. Did you know that inflammation is a normal part of training, though? After a hard bout of exercise training, inflammation naturally occurs to help the athlete's muscles heal, so athletes can recover and adapt to more difficult workouts as training goes on. Too much inflammation, though, can become a problem that results from too many hard workouts with not enough focus on recovery, nutrition, adequate sleep, and a healthy diet, and can negatively impact sports performance and compromise immunity, which may lead to days missed from practice or competition, which neither one is good for an athlete, right? And so some athletes turn to non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs as a way to decrease that inflammation. But here's why you don't want your athlete to do that. Those drugs have been associated with gut damage and may actually impair the training adaptations that help athletes recover and get stronger. And so we know, and Janis alluded to this, that many of the foods we put into our body are inflammatory and can be causing problems and slowing down the healing. So let's look at what are some of those foods and what are areas that you want to avoid. Sugar's at the top of the list, especially high fructose corn syrup, but we get white bread and white rice, soda, fried foods, processed foods, dairy, processed meats, and alcohol. Those are all going to cause inflammation in your body. So you really want to be able to limit those types of foods and put in foods that are going to be good and decrease that inflammation. Well, let's talk about sugar. I know that we all know sugar isn't good for us, but did you realize how much it inhibits our immune system? The number of bacteria a white blood cell can destroy in half an hour is 14. All right, that's what our bodies normally can do. But what happens, look down this list, if you just have an 8-ounce soft drink, 25% decrease in your immunity right there. Or worse, what about that apple pie that you had to go celebrate a win, right? Or maybe you went out to the local ice cream place, you're going to decrease your immunity by 85%. And I don't know about you, but maybe some pumpkin pie that we're going to have later this month, just know that that all is going to decrease your immune system. Another couple areas that I know athletes really have to deal with is what do we do about what do we drink, right? There's a lot of sports drinks out there. They usually contain water, electrolytes, and carbohydrates or sugar. Oftentimes it can soften the enamel of your teeth. So watch for all the additives that get added in there. And most of the time, water is best for moderate exercise. Sports drinks can be useful if you are having extreme workouts with excessive sweating, then there's a place for them. But most of the time, water is enough for most athletes, and we don't need all of those sports drinks as often as I see them getting drunk. But not to be confused with energy drinks, which absolutely have no place in athletics, in my opinion, and when you look at the research, because they inhibit absorption of minerals, they're diuretic, they're highly acidic, and cancer and disease thrive in acidic environments, and we're wanting to decrease the inflammation in our athletes' bodies, not raise it up, okay? It also causes adrenal fatigue, jittery and anxious, speeds up the heart, causes problems sleeping. None of those are going to be beneficial for any of us, but especially our athletes who are out there putting their bodies through a lot of work just to have these energy drinks take that away. So it's time for an oil change. All right, and one of the great ways to do this is through omegas. They're essential fatty acids. We get the full spectrum of omega benefits to improve our mental health, our cardiovascular system, immune regulation. Think about those things that are so important for your athlete's health, in addition to the other things that you'll see on this list. So omegas, the full spectrum, so beneficial to be able to make a difference in our oil side. And we've talked about the gas and oil. So remember that those omegas are super important. And when we look at a label, we won't go into this today, but we could do a whole talk on labels. Understand that although a food label may look very impressive, if you just look at the numbers, if we look at the supplement label over here on the left, it looks pretty impressive, right? Lots of big numbers. It's 100% of our daily values in lots of categories. So I know when I do this live, a lot of people will pick that going, that one looks the best, because look at the label on the right, 000, doesn't look very impressive, does it? But you know what? That label on the right is actually an apple. All right, so I want you to be aware and look at your labels and go, gosh, I want the whole apple. And Janis is going to talk in a minute about how that works. But understand, even if the numbers on that label don't look so good, we know that an apple does so much better for our body than the isolated fragmented vitamins over here on a supplement label. And so when you look at this, there's thousands and thousands of phytonutrients in different fruits and vegetables. And I'm going to turn it over to Janis because she's going to talk a little bit more about how those work on our body and the synergy of that. So Janis.
Thanks, Kim. So if you look at this, in 1991, which is when this article came out, there were just under 12,500 nutrients that had been discovered. In the last 30 years, there have been about 18,000 additional nutrients discovered. So that puts the total at over 30,000 nutrients. And these come from eating the rainbow of fruits and veggies. You may have noticed in each of the R's, recovery, repair, and reduction of inflammation, that fruits and veggies seem to be the key that hold the human body together. And they are. And you might be thinking, well, that's great to know, but there's no way my kids, or really even myself, are going to eat that, 15 servings a day that athletes really need? Well, I have a simple solution for you. It's called Juice Plus, and it's the whole food nutrition from 30 different fruits, veggies, and berries in a capsule, or they have gummies too for kids. This company works with mid-sized family farmers who grow in a sustainable, natural way. They grow 30 of the most nutritious fruits, veggies, and berries, things like kale and beets and cranberries, bilberries and elderberries. They harvest them at the peak of ripeness, grind them into a thick slurry. So I think of a giant Vitamix. And then they dry them at low temperatures because heat kills the nutrients. And they're left with a powder that contains all of the nutrients from all of this produce. So remember when I told you that I had done permanent damage to the proteins in my cells by working out so hard when I was in high school and not eating properly? Well, I started taking Juice Plus 18 years ago, and my body started to repair. I noticed that my upper respiratory infections were less severe and were occurring less often. And it's extremely rare now for me to get sick at all. And it's wonderful to feel so good and so energetic. I also noticed that I stopped walking into rooms trying to remember why I had gone in there once I started taking it. And my kids have grown up taking it, and they rarely have gotten sick. And actually, nobody has needed antibiotics in my family. So we also have plant-based omegas that provide the full spectrum of omegas, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, just like Kim talked about. And the latest research shows we really need that full spectrum, not just the omega-3s. And many people get their omega-3s from fish oil, which honestly isn't sustainable. And often that fish oil is heated during the process, which destroys the benefits of the fish oil in the first place. The omega-3s in these plant-based capsules come straight from the algae, which is where the fish get their omegas in the first place. So you can say we avoided the middle fish. When I started taking these a few years ago, I noticed it made a big difference in my skin looking younger, and I really don't need readers anymore. It's wonderful. This company offers a small product line that's designed to inspire healthy living. The fruit, veggie, and berry and omega capsules provide the micronutrients that are the oil to your engine that Kim talked about. We also have complete shake mix in chocolate or vanilla to provide the macronutrients. It's such a great way to start your day. I have had one of these shakes almost every morning for breakfast for the past 18 years, and I still love them. This company is committed to getting fruit and vegetable nutrition into as many people as possible. So they offer an exciting way to grow your own produce on your patio or even inside your house. The Tower Garden's an aeroponic growing system that makes it easy to grow over 30 plants in a small space. I have one inside and one outside, and I love the fact that I don't have to rely on the grocery store to get produce. I know that I'm the only person who has touched it, which in the times we're in today is really comforting. The Juice Plus products are the most thoroughly researched brand name nutritional product in the world. And the research has found that it's bioavailable, which means that the nutrients get into the bloodstream of humans. It supports every organ system in our bodies. One of my favorite studies was done on elite athletes in Graz, Austria. The study spanned 7 months, which is really typical of an athletic season. And it proved that Juice Plus reduces that protein damage that's created when we exercise. The oxidative stress from one workout was alleviated by the next day so that the stress didn't accumulate over time, which tends to happen without the right amount of micronutrients in the body. And it leads to overuse injuries, stress fractures, and a reduction in immune function. So athletes oftentimes will get sick at the end of their season. I saw this firsthand with my daughter, Casey. She was a 10-meter diver, or 10-meter platform diver, which is really hard on the body. When the divers hit the water, they're traveling at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour, and the impact is taken in their shoulders and their wrists. And when Casey was in high school, I started noticing that at all of the national level meets, she was the only platform diver that didn't have K-tape on her shoulders and have her wrists taped up. I thought it was probably because her body had been flooded with fruits and vegetables since she was 4, and that nutrition helped her body to recover after each practice. Well, she went to Florida State on a diving scholarship, and I sent Juice Plus with her, but she decided she was a little bit smarter than her mom and decided not to take it. And by February of her freshman year, I went to their ACC meet, and she had inflammation in her wrists and shoulders and came out on the pool deck all taped up with K-tape, and her wrists were all taped up. And that year, she got the flu for the first time in her life and was really miserable. She didn't have the energy that she had had before. It was unfortunate that she had to experience this to realize the difference that nutrition makes, but now she gets it. And as a young adult, she doesn't go a day without her Juice Plus. So Kim, I'll let you close us out.
All right, thanks, Janice. And I love it when kids, when they get it, right? And we know healthier habits are easier when you tackle them together and you get started as early as possible in life. And so we have a Healthy Starts for Family program that we love, where with an adult starting on Juice Plus, they can sponsor a child between ages 4 and 18 or undergraduate college student to get some of their Juice Plus for free. And we know that being a good role model in all areas of life is important. And so we're here to be able to help you be a good role model easily in this area of nutrition for your family. And so in closing, we want to make every workout count for you and your athlete. And that means focusing on good nutrition with whole food to positively impact the 3 R's, right? Recovery, repair, and reduction of inflammation. And I'm so grateful to my friend Jody, who, when she heard about Juice Plus, not only decided to add it to her family's diet, but felt inclined to share it with others. So we got to be the recipient of that knowledge, and it's definitely enhanced my entire family's life. I can't believe it's been over 2 decades that I've been able to make health an easier priority for my family. And with the exception of concussions, my kids have competed injury-free throughout high school, and between the 2 of them, they went to state in 3 different sports in high school. You know, we've been healthy, so sickness didn't steal the opportunities to play. And I have peace of mind that I gave our kids a great foundation of health and opportunities, all while not spending my entire day in the kitchen, right? We want healthy food, but it takes a while to get some of that prepared, or having to go through drive-throughs, right? Like getting that fast food in that we know is inflammatory. So I feel so blessed that we didn't have to do that and that I was able to be present for their activities. I love the season of parenting. It's brought so much joy to watch our kids excel and get to do the activities and the sports that they wanted to do. And so I hope that today that Janice and I have inspired and equipped you to help your athletes perform even better. And please get with the person who invited you to add Juice Plus to your diet, to look into that family health study and the Add More Good campaign that's going on for a limited time right now, and to do all that you can to help your athlete have the best performance possible. Thank you.